Welcome to Trash Picture Show. Going to change things up a bit and I'm going to review some comics and recommend some comics for you. First off, we have The Goddamn, written by Jason Aaron. It is awesome. It is a biblical story with hints of Conan the Barbarian. It's written by Jason Aaron, who, if you're into comics, he worked on Scalped and he worked on the latter run of Punisher Max. And The Goddamn tells the story of Cain. It's set 1,600 years after the fall of Eden, and Cain, who's the son of Adam and the first to commit murder, is looking for a way to die. Unfortunately for him, he runs afoul Noah, who in this book is a religious zealot who's collecting animals for an unknown flood. And he's also collecting slaves, and he's a bit nefarious than what the Old Testament kind of made out. It's really cool. It is really visceral. It is really gory. It is a very kind of visually stunning kind of story. It doesn't shy away from violence. It doesn't shy away from gore. It's definitely not something for any regular churchgoer to read. But it is cool. There is kind of hints of Conan the Barbarian. If Conan ended up in the Bible, I think he'd be Cain. Awesome book. And if you're a fan of Jason Aaron, this is a must. Hiram Guerrera and Guillermo Brusco do arts and colours, and yeah, it's a good read. Next up, Fury, My War Gone By. This is the second run of Nick Fury's story in the Punisher, in the Max universe. It does coincide with the Punisher Max series, and we find out why Nick Fury is so cynical and bitter. It shows that Fury went from like a kind of World War II hero to a guy who ended up becoming like a CIA spook. He is so cynical. He has seen like the effects of war. He has seen that like not everything is black and white as it should be, and he's had to kind of screw people over to get where he is. He was involved in the Bay of Pigs operation and he's captured. The series also shows the fall of Vietnam, the first fall of Indochina. It's Garth Ennis, so you are going to get a very historically accurate kind of story. Gordon Parlov does the artwork. I love Gordon Parlov's artwork. He does some really cool kind of designs for the characters. He always makes these characters big and chunky, especially Frank. He does a really good job with Frank Castle. And yeah, Nick Fury is awesome in this comic. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's gory, it's bloody, there's sex, there's violence, there's intrigue. It's got everything for the whole family. Definitely check out Fury, My War Gone By. Next up, another Punisher Max comic, Terror Inc. Basically, the Max universe, they recycled some old characters, and one of them was Mr. Terror. I don't know if it's conducive to the original Mr. Terror, but this character is an immortal who decays. He can't stop decaying. He can't die, but he constantly has to switch out his body parts and his limbs, and as a result, he's kind of an immortal mercenary / assassin. And the artwork is cool. I'll just check the artist again. I'm having trouble pronouncing his name. Patrick Zircher, I think. Patrick Zircher, and David Lapham's the writer. David Lapham does a wicked job making this very likable, weird, kind of supernatural creature who is Mr. Terror. There's really one funny bit where he's trying to infiltrate a kind of hotel, and this guy, his target, has a load of bodyguards. So he decapitates one of the guys, puts his head on, and tries to go back into the room again. And one of the other bodyguards is like, Jesus, you've grown 2 inches since I saw you last. And your man's like, fucking steroids, my dick is fucking tiny. So it's a funny read, it's a cool read, and if you're into horror and you're into science fiction, Mr. Terror is an awesome character. Terror Inc. is a wicked comic, and yeah, give it a look. Next up, we have Battle Pope from Robert Kirkman. Tony Moore does the art. It is an awesome book. It's very funny. It's very different from The Walking Dead. Essentially, the new Pope is just a fucking sex pest. He's a rampant sex pest who just likes drinking and whoring, and as a result, the human race kind of slides into anarchy, and God condemns the entire human race. Because of this, demons invade Earth and make shit everything. So God sends his son Jesus down to help Pope, who has now become Battle Pope. He's a roided up Pope. He's built like a fucking shit brick house, and yeah, it's pretty funny. You got really kind of zany sense of humor. Jesus is going around with a t-shirt, a Hawaiian shirt, and a t-shirt that says "What would I do?" And yeah, like Battle Pope will have like sex with anything. Like he ends up sleeping with this big demon girl, and then he finds out she's only a kid, and he's he's ended up becoming jailbait. So it's pretty funny. If you get a chance, definitely check out Battle Pope. Very different from Robert Kirkman, but that's a good thing. It's a bit of kind of levity in a otherwise very serious kind of writer's catalogue. And last up, we have A God Somewhere. This is an amazing comic. John Accardi, Peter Spendreg, and Brendan Hansen. It's a very interesting story. It's a look of there has been stories in the past that has had like ideas. Well, what if Superman would go bad, or what if a human got Superman's powers and how would they corrupt him? And this is a very kind of, it does go along the lines about how a human would deal with having superpowers and the omnipotence that they would suffer, and could not control their actions, both physically and mentally. I mean, if you have the powers of a god, you would start to think you're a god, and how it would also affect those around you, like your brother, your best friend, people you're romantically interested in. It's a very dark story. It mainly centers around two brothers and their best friend, and their best friend watches not only the dissolving of the brothers' relationship, but the kind of the brother who gets the powers, he just ends up getting lost in the whole madness of it all, and by the end of it, he's gone from hero to something who can just commit atrocities without a second thought. He's just let the power consume him, because he doesn't feel the need to justify himself to anyone, because he is over everyone. The artwork is amazing. If you get a chance, definitely pick this up. It's an awesome book, and like you feel for the characters, and it's not something that's just chewing gum for the brain. You read it, and it does make you think about what you'd do in that circumstances, or if you're friends with this individual, how would it affect you? So yeah, that's been a couple of comic suggestions, and I hope you find them interesting. If you have any more comics that you want me to review or check out or suggest, leave them in the comments below. And yeah, that's been the Trash Picture Show. Have a good one. Take care. Bye now.